In 2016, Gatorade shrank from 32 ounces to 28. Same bottle, same price, 4 ounces gone, and nobody rioted. Since 2020, over 10,000 products have quietly shrunk while prices climbed. Toblerone spaced out its triangles, Charmin cut sheets per roll, Bounty downsized paper towels, and your ice cream carton lost 14 ounces without changing shape. A single mother in Ohio named Jennifer Barker went viral in March 2023 when she lined up 5 years of Tide bottles on her kitchen counter, same shelf price, descending sizes, and asked if she was crazy or if this was theft. How did corporations convince us to pay more for less without sparking mass outrage? The answer isn't what you think. It's not about corporate greed or price gouging or some boardroom conspiracy to screw consumers. It's about something older and more fundamental, something that's been happening for thousands of years, just wearing a different disguise. Like a magician's sleight of hand, the real trick isn't what you're seeing, it's what you're not noticing. This is unpriced risk. Everything made sense, right up until it didn't. Here's what didn't add up. Between 2020 and 2023, official inflation sat around 3 to 4% annually, uncomfortable but not catastrophic. The Fed called it transitory. Economists debated supply chains versus stimulus checks, and meanwhile, your grocery cart was telling a completely different story. Cottonelle toilet paper went from 340 sheets per roll down to 312. That's a 12% cut right there in your bathroom. Bounty paper towels dropped from 160 sheets to 120, 25% gone, just like that. Cadbury shrunk its family-sized chocolate bars from 200 grams to 180, 10% overnight. Reddit communities turned into citizen auditors, posting side-by-side photos with rulers and kitchen scales, measuring what the government wasn't. One user weighed 60 products over 18 months and found more than half had shrunk by double digits while prices stayed flat or rose. Company spokespeople denied it at first, then pivoted to making products fit what customers want. Nobody asked for less. The gap kept widening like a crack in your windshield. Official inflation said 4%, your pantry said 20%. So which one was lying? Or was something bigger happening? Something that made the math stop working entirely? Edgar Dworsky has been photographing cereal boxes since 2003, not as a hobby, but as documentation of something most people never notice. The founder of Consumer World Archives, every package, redesign, every ounce shaved off, every millimeter trimmed from the bottom of a peanut butter jar. His Boston apartment looks like a grocery store crime scene. And what he's found is that companies don't shrink products randomly. They do it with surgical precision, following patterns that would make a behavioral psychologist proud. Internal marketing research leaked in a 2022 Nestle presentation showed consumers notice a 10-cent price increase about 70% of the time. But a 10% size decrease? Only 30% catch it? The math was brutal and simple. Shrink the product, keep the price, keep the customer happy. One Mondelez executive told an investor call in 2021 that the company's price pack architecture let them maintain key price points while adjusting weight. Translation: that $4.99 bag stays $4.99 because crossing $5 triggers what psychologists call left-digit bias. Your brain sees $5.90 as dramatically more expensive than $4.99, even though it's 1 penny. So they don't cross it. They hollow it out instead. Dworsky's archive shows this pattern across hundreds of brands: Chobani yogurt, Gatorade bottles, hefty trash bags. The price point holds like a steel beam, while everything else bends around it. It's not deception, exactly. It's just what happens when the goal becomes hiding inflation rather than admitting it exists. But groceries are just the opening act. In 1973, the median new single-family home in America was around 1,500 square feet. By 2023, that number had grown to about 2,200 square feet, which sounds like progress until you adjust for price. In 1973, that median home cost roughly $30,000, or about $200,000 in today's dollars. The 2023 median, just over $400,000. You're paying double for 47% more space. The cost per square foot has exploded. And if you're renting, the square footage often goes the other direction entirely. Apartment buildings in Austin and Phoenix now advertise micro-studios at 350 square feet for $1,400 a month, about the same rent that got you 650 square feet a decade ago. The gym? Gone. The included parking spot is now $150 extra. Hospitals followed the same playbook. What used to be billed as one overnight stay is now itemized into 17 separate charges: room, linens, monitoring, IV setup. Same service, more line items? College textbooks ballooned to 1,300 pages, but replaced chapters with QR codes linking to online modules that expire after one semester. You're paying more for less content you don't even own. It's like shrinkflation's evil twin. Instead of making the product smaller, they hollow it out from the inside. Everywhere you look, the same move. Keep the price, hollow the thing. Here's what almost nobody wanted to say out loud. This wasn't happening by accident. Between January 2020 and December 2021, the US money supply, measured as M2, grew by roughly 40%. More new dollars in 2 years than the previous decade combined. But those dollars didn't land evenly. They entered through banks first, then corporations, then asset owners, like water flowing downhill, always reaching the valleys last. By the time that money reached wages, or Main Street prices, it had already inflated stock buybacks, real estate, and corporate debt refinancing. The people closest to the money printer got to spend it before prices adjusted. Everyone else just watched things get more expensive. Economists call it the Cantillon effect. Companies don't call it anything. They just borrowed at near zero rates, bought back shares, raised prices, and called it margin improvement. Meanwhile, wages grew at 2 or 3% a year, exactly the Federal Reserve's inflation target. That target isn't an accident or a ceiling, it's policy. Official, deliberate, 2% per year debasement, which means your dollar is designed to lose half its value every 35 years. The shrinkflation, the rent hikes, the hollow products, they're not corporate greed gone rogue. They're the response to money that loses value by design. Nobody needed a conspiracy. They just needed incentives. So here's what you can't unsee once you notice it. The products didn't shrink. The dollar did. That Toblerone bar with wider gaps, the detergent bottle that's mostly air, the rent that doubled while your apartment stayed exactly the same. They're all just showing you what happened to the measuring stick. In ancient Rome, emperors clipped silver from coins and reminted them at the same face value. Fewer grams, same denarius. Citizens didn't get a memo. They just noticed bread cost more coins than it used to. Your paycheck works the same way now. The number goes up 2 or 3%, but what it actually buys keeps shrinking, quietly, without announcement, by design. The Federal Reserve has a name for this. They call it the inflation target. 2% per year, every year, compounding. Your dollar loses half its value in 35 years, and nobody's required to tell you that's happening. The shrinkflation was never the story. It was just the part you could hold in your hand. What Rome's emperors did with a chisel, modern economies do with a spreadsheet. The denarius took 3 centuries to collapse. Nobody's sure how long this one takes. Thanks for watching Unpriced Risk.